Hello everyone. Welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney. I already screwed it up. I screwed it up. Ugh. The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Welcome back. Hopefully I spaced things out enough from the TalkCast pod show that okay, good. I've got a notification. Hopefully the stream doesn't die on me. EPM, thank you for the 57-month resub. 57 months! Over 4 years of streaming! And I'm sure someone would follow that up with, look how far we've fallen. But hey! I'm playing Ace Attorney. So I don't care. So, last we left off, we were just assigned a new case, finding out that it was a actually Japanese man accused of murder, or attempted murder, since the woman survived. So now we're checking out the crime scene at Briar Road, where we know a familiar yet original detective may be found. It looks as though the police are still here, carrying on with their investigation. Perfect. So let's find Inspector Gregson as quickly as possible. Yes, and let's see if he'll take a break from his chips to look at that silver tip Iris gave us for him. I can't present stuff, can I? Oh, yeah, I have to go back, though. Dear the gentleman in black, whatever he wants to know. I trust that won't be a problem. Iris Wilson. Yeah, we got this from the new Wilson. Take that. Inspector Gregson, do you have a moment?
I'm sorry to say I don't. I'm a very busy man. Much too busy to talk to a pair of foreign gadabouts, that's for sure.
We have these for you. A present for Miss Iris Wilson.
What? For me? From her ladyship?
Her ladyship?
Give that here, at once. Now, come on, hand it over. That's for me.
Ah! Don't wait for me to give it to you, will you? What was that coin exactly?
It's a silver crown, obviously, but it's a lot more than that. It's an appearance fee, that's what it is.
An appearance fee? Oh, I see. You mean...
That's right, for the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Her ladyship always offers me a nice financial reward for featuring me, every time.
Yes, of course. I know all about your exploits, Inspector. I read them avidly.
Of course, her using my name without my say-so does make me a butt of a lot of unpleasant jokes, but still, I'm
sorry, Inspector. That must be difficult for you.
Never you mind that. So, what do you want to know then, eh?
Sorry?
Tell the gentleman in black whatever he wants to know. I trust there won't be a problem, it says. Well, obviously it's not a problem. Go on, fire away. What do you want to know?
Well, if you wouldn't mind, Inspector, we'd very much like to know the address of Mr. Natsume's lodgings.
Ah, the little knife-wielding mustached Japanese fella? He lives in the right old hovel. It's just over there, look!
Ah, the boarded up bordello. Obviously, I just wanted the alliteration there.
On the first floor of that house on the corner where that wreck of a bicycle's propped up.
That is nearby indeed.
If I remember rightly, the landlord...
Every time I try to do that voice, it makes me want to yawn.
The landlord is a Mr. John Garadeb. Right, well, if you see her again, you make sure you give her ladyship my regards, you hear? I mean it. You tell her that Gregson sends his very best wishes.
Don't worry, Inspector. We will.
Goodbye for now, then, and long live her ladyship.
I feel like that's almost a treasonous statement. Long live the Queen and no one else! Well, at least he told us what we wanted to know before he left. Yeah, so then, shall we go and see what we find in Mr. Natsume's lodgings? Definitely. I don't believe that outfit hanging up on the wall would actually fit him. They went with the cannon. It's like the Admiral's house from Mary Poppins. Oh no.
May I help you?
Yes. Would this be the residence of Mr. John Garadeb?
Indeed it would, sir. And who am I say is calling?
My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm, Mr. Naruhodo is representing Mr. Soseki Natsume. I believe he takes lodgings here. We would very much like to ask him some questions about our client.
One moment, please. I shall convey the message to Mr. Garadeb.
Oh, Bracky, welcome! You're just in time for this part 2 of episode 4. With this preciously plump maid and Susato. Did you see that, Miss Susato? That was a real-life English maid. I've read about them in these magazines. I know, as I understand it, everyone of standing in English society employs a number of household staff. But that was the first time I've ever seen one in the flesh. Oh, this day keeps getting better. It certainly feels like we've really arrived now, doesn't it? We need only meet a butler and the experience we complete. Well, I'm not sure if I'd go that far, but I understand the sentiment.
Thank you for waiting, Mr. Garadeb. We'll see you now. This way.
Oh, hello. Oh no, it's Mr. Mooooon! It's Mr. Mooooon! 10 points if you get that obscure anime reference. Saw that when Funimation still had their own channel on the Dish Network. Well, I could talk to you, but I think I'm first gonna just examine your room. Oh wow, 3 of you already got it. Fine. I guess it wasn't that obscure. Yes, Buso Rankin. Makes you wonder when you get a chance to say Papillon. That uniform looks fairly ancient, doesn't it? It's clearly been well looked after, though. Ooh, what's this guy's voice? Do I want to see if I can do like a Mr. Moon impression? That old thing, Pa! Not much better than rags, really. Oh? Well, that ceremonial card is my retirement bash, you know. But I'm not one for dwelling on the past, me. You would have gladly thrown it out, but you know how it is. Anyway, it doesn't hurt to have the odd piece of memorabilia lying around, does it? Oh, I see. Perhaps we should leave the past in the past. That's a full-size cannon! What's it doing in here? Oh my, it's real! I thought it might be replica. That old thing? Bah, that's little more than a toy. Sorry? The army was selling it off when I retired, so I decided to give it a new home. Never know when the enemy might attack next. Jolly useful to have a cannon about the house. Really? It isn't overkill? Be prepared, I always say. You never know what this twisted world is going to throw at you next, boy. Do you think there may be trouble brewing, Mr. Garadeb? Always is. Chick Joan here. Never fails to have a clean apron in reserve. Tries them over a barrel, you see. They dry very well on the cannon there, Joan tells me. Which rather proves my point, I feel. Chekhov's English gun. It's been reduced to a drying rack. No wonder the huge cannon looks like it's hanging its head in shame. Look at that enormous screen! It must have been put there deliberately, surely. Yes, it certainly seems like someone's trying to hide something from view. What could be behind it, I wonder? I'm going to have a very quick look, just a little peek. Ahem! Maybe let's not, Miss Susato. I think the maid is going to head us off with a cup of tea. Ahem! That looks like a Medal of Honor, and it's showcased in a very grand manner. And it's showcased on a very grand banner. Yes, it's displayed with some pride, I would say, although it bothers me that it's not straight. What, that old thing? Sorry? I should be glad to see the back of it, but the general would turn it in his grave if I disposed of it. The wall's the best place for it. It keeps the bally thing out of my way. So it's just been polished to shine by accident, I suppose? There appears to be an inscription on the metal itself. Look. Let me see. It says, "For distinguished participation." That probably won't make sense in context, but I'm still saving that screenshot. Sounds like the kind of honors even I would be in line for. Well, one doesn't like to blow one's own trumpet, but I was given that for my time in the army. Can't measure an officer by the number of medals to his name, of course. Common knowledge in military circles. Alright, we'll put this off. No, actually, we can look over here. Look at this crockery on display here. It's rather unusual, isn't it? Oh my, a genuine London dresser! Isn't it delightful? Although the shelves seem to be broken and the crockery is... Oh dear! It's in pieces! It really is. The word cracked wouldn't do that chinaware justice. Ah, I wonder... Perhaps the cannon was fired at it. Probably something like that, but let's not delve too deeply here. This window looks out over Briar Road, where the young woman was attacked. Oh yeah, I can make out the policeman on the far side of the road, investigating the crime scene. The glass is rather murky, isn't it? You can't see very clearly. Does this thing open at all? I wonder. You shouldn't underestimate the bitterness of a London winter, sir! Sorry? As soon as you open that window, the teas will freeze in the pot. No Londoner will go opening windows at dusk in the middle of winter, I assure you. It seems very unlikely that these two would have seen anything of the incident then. Oh, look! What a wonderful collection of cakes lined up on that gleaming silver cake stand. And it's all crooked. Lined up? Looks more like someone has half demolished them to me. Afternoon tea is a time of indulgence, you know. It's quite the English way. It is Mr. Garadev's custom to take 2 cakes with his tea. That sounds delightful. Oh, wait a minute, though. There are at least 10 cakes on this cake stand. Well, naturally! It would never do to waste the leftovers. So whatever Mr. Garadev doesn't eat, I say to myself, Joan, you shall have to tidy up. How magnanimous of you. This old candle holder is out of place here, wouldn't you say? Yeah, you're right. It's clearly supposed to be gold, but it's almost completely black for some reason. That old thing, yes. Just a cheap piece of ironmongery gimcrack, really. Oh. Used it when I was studying, don't you know, for my commission. I know it's old, hardly worth hanging on to, really, but, well, still has its uses. Sometimes. Man, I don't know why I'm yawning left and right. Of course. Does everything in this room have some elaborate story behind it? They're memories, Mr. Naruhodo, memories. Alright, let's finally talk to you. Good day to you, person who's just been inspecting my entire apartment without actually introducing themselves. John Garadeb at your service. Pleased to meet you, sir. This is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. He's a defense lawyer. Do excuse me not getting up. Took a shot to the knee a few years back at the Battle of Maiwan, don't you know? Earned a medal for my pains, but had to withdraw from service. Handed over the reins to the up-and-comings. So he's a retired soldier. It's a hell of a job getting up and down stairs now, I can tell you. Don't get out much, as you can imagine. Yes, it's quite a climb up here to the 2nd floor, isn't it? I was panting at the top of the stairs. You really must take more exercise, Mr. Naruhodo. Do you think so? Can I have some of those cakes? Yes, he took a bullet to the knee. And he used to be an adventurer like us. Well, Mr. Garadeb, no doubt you were very courageous to earn yourself a medal. Oh, it was nothing. The medal's just a folderol, really. Wouldn't like to offend the general, though, so I grudgingly displayed it on the wall. Why don't you fetch it down, Joan? Let these good people see it properly. Joan! Fetch the... Ah! Dash it all, woman! Be careful! Oh, dearie me! I do beg your pardon, sir! Gina took the skin off my hands! And my crotch! I shall be more careful, sir. So anyway, there you have it. Living the quiet life now. Yes, I see. Now then, I hear you want to know about the chap lodging downstairs. Is that right? Yes, we would be very grateful if you could answer some questions for us. Only 2, please, naturally. Especially if it helps to keep the peace here in Blightly. We forged an alliance with the Empire of Japan recently, as I'm sure you're aware. So this case is very much in the public eye, as it were. Oh, is it? Even had some famous detective poking around, you know, in this old house, would you believe? Yes, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Could have been. Didn't catch the chap's name. Not really my cup of tea, all that detective business. Oh, but you have a copy of Rant's magazine here, so... Eh? No. Anyway, the chap's investigating the foreigner's room as we speak. So he's in Soseki-san's room. It's a bally nuisance is what it is. The whole neighborhood's twitching its curtains now. I don't like all this fuss. It's jolly unsettling. Okay, why am I picking this if it's clearly Suzato leading the conversation? About Mr. Natsume then, Mr. Garadeb. Please do tell us. Oh yes, the Japanese chap. Only been lodging here for a week. Oh, just 1 week? So he moved in very recently then. I have 2 lodges most of the time. One on the ground floor and one just below us. The first floor room became available a week ago, you see. There have been... Ah! Dash it all, Joan, do be careful! Oh my goodness, I'm terribly sorry, sir. If you want to know my opinion, I thought he was a shady sort from the moment I set eyes on him. Oh, why? He seemed to have a most nervous disposition, always shaking and looking over his shoulder. The man had shady written across his sweat-soaked brow, if you ask me. I said to myself, Joan, that man is trouble. Sooner or later he's going to do something untoward. And I'm rarely wrong about anything. We won't be calling this man as a witness, that's for sure. Was there anything else that struck you as suspicious about the man at all? Yes, oh yes, indeed there was. And she's dying to tell us. Had you noticed anything else at all about your lodger, Mr. Matsune? Oh my word, yes! The man was shadier than an orchard! I wish I could get like a more cheeky voice, but... Puffing up my cheeks like this is hard work! We'll take the man's room, absolutely stuffed full of books it is! More than anyone could ever read. And he never so much as passes the time of day with another living soul. Holy cat, honestly, if there's a single visitor call. He just trots off to that old bookshop every day, comes back at 5 to light the gas fire. And the funny little man is up long past time everyone else in the house has gone to bed too. I see. The gentleman on the ground floor goes to bed around 9 each night. But I've never known that Japanese fellow to retire any earlier than 2 in the morning. Stuff cotton balls in your cheeks. I already have bad cotton mouth already. I don't need more. Could you clarify something, I wonder? What, pray? How do you know so much about Mr. Natsume's routine? Oh! I understood that neither of the lodgers live on this floor of the house, is that correct? That's right, yes, they're below both of us, on the first floor and street level. Street level apparently no longer the first floor. It's the lobby, mezzanine. No, mezzanine has to go above a floor. Then how is it that you know so much about the lives of your lodgers? The precise times that they come back in the evening, for example, even the times they go to bed. Ah! Good grief! grief, Joan! Be careful, woman!
Oh my goodness, sir, I'm terribly sorry, sir.
Something doesn't add up here. It seems that the incident took place around 5 in the evening. Did you happen to look out of the window at around that time?
The window?
Yes, we noticed that the window over there looks out over Briar Road. The incident took place on the pavement just on the far side of the street. Was there anyone suspicious loitering nearby? Five o'clock is dinner time at the Garadeb household. So I'm afraid I don't remember seeing anything. How about you, Joan?
No, sir. It would have been dusk around outside already at that hour. With the fog as well, I should think that it would have been quite impossible to see the other side of the road.
Oh. I see. Did you notice anything else out of the ordinary then?
Such as?
Anything at all, even if it seems unrelated.
Well.
Yes? Was there something then?
Well, it's nothing particularly significant, but around that— Ah! For the love of God, Joan, watch what you're doing!
Didn't get to finish that whole thing. What was he saying? But around that sort of time in here, so something does happen and the maid's covering it up.
Oh dearie me, what have I done? I'm terribly sorry, sir.
Do be more careful, woman.
Of course, sir. And if I may, Mr. Narrow Hollow.
Oh, yeah?
I have an exceedingly good memory, and as far as I remember, nothing of any significance took place here at that hour. Nothing at all.
Oh, really? Mr. Garadeb? The way you're talking before, it sounded rather like there might have been.
Oh, well, as I was saying, it was just a trifling matter, really. Nothing of— Ah! Joan, dash it all! What's the matter with you, woman? Begging your pardon, sir. Nothing happened. Yes, quite. Nothing happened. We've sat down to a quiet, uneventful meal. Joan? That's right, Mr. Garadeb.
What is the matter with these two? It sounds like something happened here in this room on the evening of the incident, but what? I wish I knew. Could you tell us which floor Mr. Natsume's room is on?
Why, certainly, just below us on the first floor.
And Mr. Sholmes is investigating there, even as we speak?
Yes, told me Nat's his name, asked him to look into the matter, so I gave him the key.
Mr. Natsume has engaged Mr. Sholmes' services? That's a blatant lie. Would it be alright if we had a look around? In Mr. Natsume's room, I mean.
Don't see why not. It's just down one flight of stairs.
Who knows if we'll find anything that could help us with the case, but we have to try. We need all the clues we can lay our hands on, shall we? Yes, and while we're there, we can speak to Mr. Sholmes again. Perhaps he'll be able to tell us more. Thank you, you're both terrible company. Goodbye. Oh, I have to go back one more time. So many new locations. He certainly does like his books and no daylight. This man is depressing. And there's a cat in here! Just look at this place! And the smell! It's so musty in here! I suppose it's the mountains of old books that are responsible for that. Kitty! I don't think I've ever seen so many books in all my life. No, me neither. It's so dark in here, too. Is that the window over there? Oh, well, it was the window, I think. Yes, once upon a time. But for some reason, it's been closed up with bricks and mortar. So this is where Mr. Natsume lives. Has lived. By the way, there's a cat over there! The cat is Mr. Sholmes in disguise. Oh yeah, and no, there's a lit candle with all of these books. How has this place not gone up in flames yet? Thank you, EPAN. I was just thinking about that. Like, not only is that the candle, you also have a lamp over here that's just precariously perched just above these books. And yes, I know it's mounted into the wall, but look, right on top. Big stack of books. I haven't spotted Mr. Sholmes anywhere, have you? No, that's true, but according to what Mr. Garadeb told us, the great detective should be around here somewhere investigating. Whoops. Hit spacebar too quick. Cat! Cat! Oh, it's adorable. No, wait, come back! Oh my, what an adorable little cat! Perhaps he's looking after all the books while his master is away. I don't know about that. He disappeared into that pile of books as quick as a flash. There was a tricolor Miki, wasn't it? Do they even have that sort of cat here in Great Britain? Perhaps Mr. Natsume brought the little creature with him from Japan. That's made me feel homesick now. Already? We've only been in the country for 2 days, but we've been out of Japan for 42 days. That desk seems to be wedged into a crevasse between the mountains of books on either side. I suppose Mr. Natsume would sit there and read while stroking his cat. His cat! But surrounded on all sides by these towering old tomes. Surely he dreamt of books every night as well. Yes, he must have done, mustn't he? Oh, what's this? It's a receipt from a second-hand bookshop. Your books. Ha ha. Oh yes, Mr. Natsume's name is on it, look. And the date of the purchase. 2 days ago at 4:45 p.m. That's the day of the incident. That's just a short while before he was embroiled in the terrible attack. He must have been on his way back from buying some old books. The second-hand book receipt has been entered into the court record. Oh, there he is. Wait, hold on. Yeah, perfectly out of frame. So we looked we looked everywhere, Setsato. I do not know where Sholmes is. He could be anywhere. And third fire hazard candle. Anyway. Look at all those books stepped up there. They almost reached the ceiling. They're all works of English literature, and they all smell so musty. With this volume of books to hand, you'd never be short of reading material, would you? No? What a dreamy idea. A bad dream, maybe. For me, at least. Mind you, I don't imagine the book that's at the bottom of the pile now will ever be read again. Ah, so reading it is an experience that comes but once in a lifetime, just as the tea ceremony teaches us. I certainly didn't expect the conversation to turn down the path of tea ceremony philosophy. I think he slept here. Like the way the blankets kind of just coiled up. No, I want to... Oh look, it's a beckoning cat from home. It's a bit big and bulky, isn't it? Surely Mr. Natsume didn't bring that Maneki Neko all the way from Japan with him. I hardly think you're in a position to comment, Mr. Naruhodo. Are you forgetting the enormous Daruma doll that you brought in your luggage? Well, it can be dangerous traveling abroad. I wanted a lucky charm. And now I have a sword. Clearly it's working. Ugh. Well, I imagine Mr. Natsume wanted the same, and this cat is sure to beckon good luck to him. But did it? It's not doing a very good job so far, is it? You mustn't say such things. I didn't say a word. Why are my eyes such a giveaway? How can everyone read my mind? Would you even call this a window? I think so. It was a window at one time, after all. Although all that remains is a frame around some bricks now. So really, it's just a wall then, isn't it? But why would anyone deliberately brick it up like that? I'm afraid I have no idea. Ah! Perhaps Mr. Natsume painted the brick design on in a fit of whimsy. That's alarmingly feasible. Anyway, whatever the reason, the lack of ventilation in here makes this place very oppressive. It does. I imagine being cooped up in a room like this would be extremely trying. Alright. Nothing else to scan. So over to Shones we go. Ah! Look, Mr. Naruhodo! In our terrible peripheral vision! Aha, there he is. Where did he appear from? He seems to be engrossed in the pages of an old book. I hope he won't mind if we disturb him. Hello, Mr. Sholmes? Ah, you two, good day. Now, let me see. Where was it that we met? Oh, Mr. Sholmes, we were together on the SS Beria. Yes, of course, the Beria. And let me see. What happened on that voyage? It was Kazuma Asogi. He died, tragically. But you were a great help to us? Ah, yes, but of course, the case of Mr. Asogi. It was the one with the snake, wasn't it? Oh. Well, you seem to remember something of it, at least. What an honor to be remembered vaguely by the great Herlock Sholmes. This is Mr... Oh, no, my dear madam. Hold your tongue. I pride myself on my superior powers of recollection. Your names are safely recorded in my brain attic. Miss Naruhodo... And Mr. Susato! Try the other way around, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, of course! Miss Naruhodo and Mr. Susato! No, not with the names with... Ah, damn it. Ha ha ha! I lose the first round. In truth, I had hoped to invite you both to my Baker Street suite by the day we arrived in London. But some Scotland Yarders ambushed me at the railway station and whisked me away to a crime scene. It was an entirely trivial case, of course. I solved the matter in no more than 30 minutes. So they apprehended Soseki-san in that amount of time? I'm afraid the pursuance of a new case has dulled my recollection of my past involvements a little. A little? It is a mistake to think that one's brain attic has elastic walls and can distend to any extent. I do my best to forget useless facts lest they should elbow out the useful ones. Yes, those are my own words of intimate wisdom, you know, from an adventure entitled A Study in Scarlet. Please, there's no need to quote yourself. I don't always remember my pearls of wisdom, but fortunately my associate pens them beautifully. He means Iris, I suppose. Mr. Sholmes, we have some extremely important questions to ask you about the trivial case you just mentioned. Goodness, what an earnest expression! My dear madam, I should be only too pleased, and this murky room is an apt place to discuss the murky case. We know this to be the lodgings of a Japanese foreign student by the name of Soseki Natsume. It seems that you assisted in his arrest, Mr. Sholmes, for the stabbing of a young woman outside here on Briar Road. Natsume. Yes, I believe it was a name rather along those lines. But Mr. Natsume denies it. Was it really justifiable to arrest him on so little? I'm sorry, Miss Susato, but I have not the slightest idea what you mean. What? I can't believe he was looking Susato-san squarely in the eye while feigning ignorance. I assure you, I am not merely feigning ignorance. It would appear as if the pair of you are under some misapprehension. Oh, how? I assure you, I have no recollection of accusing your stooped compatriot of the crime. But that doesn't make sense. The good detective of Scotland Yard made the following request of me, and I quote verbatim. We need you to ascertain the identity and whereabouts of a man seen fleeing the crime scene. Ah, a man seen fleeing. There were a number of books scattered on the pavement at the scene. From the book plates, I was quickly able to determine the bookshop from which they had been purchased. On speaking with the proprietor, I was immediately led to this address. Elementary, wouldn't you say? I believe there is a receipt around here somewhere from the establishment in question. So you don't think Mr. Natsume is the culprit, then? That I could not tell you. But it was aggravating my faculties, hence why I returned here. However, this place is such a trove of fascinating books, I found myself quite lost in bibliography. Bibliophily, sorry, not graphy. That's what you put at the end of the book. Do not be deceived in believing that I am a man of leisure. No, no, no. Oh dear. Ah, tell me. Have you encountered the landlord of these lodgings? Yes, Mr. Garadeb, a retired military man. It was the first time I've ever met a soldier from the great British institution that is the services. Huh. That's a way to phrase it. And it was the first time I ever met a maid from the great British institution that is service. Ah! Ha 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 ha! I didn't think it was that funny. I do apologize. As you may well be aware, many households in London employ a maid. Yes, I read as much in my Great Britain primer. And so conversely, whether or not a household employs a maid has come to betoken the social standing of those dwelling therein. Betoken their social standing? Sorry? Put simply, my dear fellow, those who employ at least a single maid are considered middle class. Those who do not are beneath that. In the upper echelons of society, of course, households employ enough staff to constitute a large family. Goodness, how extraordinary. As you can appreciate, for those on the precarious boundary between middle and lower classes, being able to afford just one maid is of the first importance. I had no idea. And it is for precisely that reason that I find great stimulation in the situation upstairs. Specifically in the retired Army veteran, Mr. John Garrideb. Oh? Affable as he is, the fellow is hiding something. Whether or not it imposes on the circumstances of his case, I am as yet unable to ascertain. I'm thoroughly lost on what he means to say. This room is thoroughly suffocating for the soul, my dear fellow. I assure you, any man whose lot is to dwell in a place such as this will stab somebody sooner or later. Mr. Natsume has stabbed no one. Ah, but sooner or later, as I said. I don't believe that's the issue here. About this dark little room, Mr. Sholmes. Why is there no longer a window? Do you have any idea? No window? Well, I mean, I can clearly see that there is a window of sorts. But it's been completely blocked with bricks. Ah, I see. The answer to that question is quite simple. Window tax. That's right. Window tax. Window tax? What is that? Surely, not a tax on windows. Precisely that. Oh my goodness. Until relatively recently, a tax was levied on households in this country by the number of their windows. Those of lesser means, having inherited a sizable and costly family home perhaps, rapidly closed windows up. While the rich opened windows here, there, and everywhere. In an effort to curry favor with those in power by furnishing them with large sums of tax money. How awful and unjust, forcing people to live in rooms devoid of light. Indeed, disease was rife as a result. So some 40 years ago, or thereabouts, the window tax was abolished. But its legacy remains, as you can see, in squalid lodgings such as these, for example. Okay, hold on. This seems just absurd enough to be based in fact. So I'm Googling it. Window tax was a property tax based on the number of windows in a house. It was a significant social, cultural, and architectural force in England, France, and Ireland during the 18th and 19th centuries. Why? It was designed to impose tax relative... Oh, okay. Oh, so it was an income tax without saying income tax. I guess that tracks. Because you would expect a person to have a larger house with more windows to be affluent and therefore be able to afford more in taxes. But a poorer house would automatically have less windows because it was smaller and pay less in the tax. That makes a very perverted amount of sense given the time period. Psychronia, this is insane. It feels very like a let's kill the poor law. No comment. I'm just trying to see when they actually abolished it. Man, they had that stuff before the Act of Union. So this goes all the way back to the late 1600s. Well, I think we all learned something today. That if the government wants your money, they're going to find a way to get it. I suppose Mr. Natsume's stipend for living here in London isn't very generous, perhaps. It would appear so. I've done a little digging and discovered that these lodgings were offered at an extraordinarily low price. Because the room is so awful, I should think. Apparently Mr. Natsume only moved in here about 1 week ago. Yes, that's correct. However, I don't believe the low rent is explained by the shabby nature of the accommodation. Oh? Green Eldridge, it has. I think it's the hole in the wall, because if you block it up like they've done here, you get no value out of it. So I think if it's an opening that looks to the outside, be it covered by glass or not, it counts as a window. But if you block that view, it probably wouldn't be counted as a window anymore. Still, that is of little relevance here. No matter were they not... Oh, okay, hold on. Did I lose the train of thought here? Okay, yeah, no. I didn't skip something. A matter not worthy of further attention. Are you sure? I'm curious now. Well, I believe I've told you all I can now. Thank you, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Was it not your intention to become a practitioner of law? You remembered that, did you? Will you perhaps be offering your services in this very matter, I wonder? To the occupant of this room, Mr. Natsume, was it? I'm not sure. Not sure? On what grounds? Well, I actually defended someone in court here only yesterday. Really? Well, then I congratulate you, sir, on an ambition realized. And so promptly, too. The thing is, it's really made me question things. Am I right to believe in my clients? To trust in their innocence? Yes, trust. Mr. Sholmes. Mr. Natsume didn't do it, did he? My dear fellow, I haven't the first idea! Oh, but... I thought that's why you were here. Didn't you come back to investigate? Ah, yes, that was indeed my initial intention. But there are simply too many fascinating books here. I couldn't possibly ignore them. Oh, I see. Nevertheless, there are two facts that I can state quite unequivocally. The man who fled the scene of the crime 2 days ago was the Japanese occupant of this room, and there are witnesses who swear to having seen the same man commit the crime. That is all I can say. Ah, and one more thing. I'm gonna Columbo this. Oh! What is it, Mr. Sholmes? Tell us! I cannot say with any certainty whether or not is it of relevance to this case, but I am quite sure that the retired army man who owns this property is hiding something. Mr. Garrideb is... Mr. Sholmes said as much before actually, didn't he? Anyway, at present, that is really all that plays in my mind in relation to this case. Mr. Naruhodo, as yet our investigations have uncovered nothing that could help establish Mr. Natsume's innocence. But luckily, it's on the prosecution's burden to prove that he's guilty! Ta-da! Yeah, that's just retreading old ground, but still, where are these witnesses? No, you're right. Perhaps it's time we probed a little deeper into Mr. Garrideb's secret. Just remember, I cannot be sure whether the landlord's secret will prove to be of relevance or not. But I wish you every success, of course, Mr. Naruhodo. And like that, he's gone. A busy man indeed. He's gone back to his book in the corner of the room. Never mind. Well, let's go bother him again. Oh, geez, I forgot my Mr. Moon voice. Oh, you pair again! Tell me, was the detective chap, I forget his name, still hard at work down there? Mr. Herlock Sholmes? Ah, yes, rings a vague bell. All that detective business isn't really my thing, I'm afraid. Well, Mr. Sholmes is in his element down there. Jolly good show. Another cup of tea, if you please, Joan. Now then, why don't you tell me what— Ah! For the umpteenth time, woman, will you watch that, what you're bolly well doing? Hold on, I want to see if I can get like a plump cheek sound. I shall be serving dinner shortly, sir. Ah, yes, of course. Frightfully rude of me, but I'm afraid shall have to ask you to take your leave, if you're so kind. Oh, yes, of course. We are deeply grateful for all your assistance. Not at all, not at all. Don't get much chance to talk with young foreigners like yourself. It's been a pleasure. Best of luck in all that. Perhaps you could see yourselves out. According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garrideb is hiding something. And since no other avenues of investigation seem open to us at the moment, perhaps we should do some digging. Clearly Sholmes is about to hop out the window. Don't do it, Sholmes! You have so much to live for! What's he doing over there? Mr. Sholmes? Aha! We meet again, my dear fellows! Ooh. I forgot his theme music. You can hate this guy, but he has a good theme. Good gracious, when did you sneak in here? Herlock Sholmes, sir, at your service. Whatever are you doing over by the window? I'm giving to watching the evening sky as the sun sets, madam. Yet sadly cheerful as the room downstairs undoubtedly is, it lacks an aperture for such an observation. So I took the liberty of borrowing a small corner of space by the window up here. Well, keeping an eye on one's window at dusk is the prudent thing to do in London, I'm gathering. Ah, and one other thing, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, me? I thought perhaps you might be in need of a certain great detective's great mind. Wait, he's not talking about, is he? I didn't expect to be going through that again so soon. Ryunosuke starts fanning himself. Sholmes, we can't do it again. We can't do that. There are people here. Do you mean Mr. Sholmes? There is a mighty secret in this modest room. My eyes see even the most trivial of trifles. I take it you're prepared, Mr. Naruhodo. I think so. I'm ready, Sholmes. There is just time enough for one of my greatly admired great deductions. Let us conclude the matter before dark. Mr. Garrideb, though it would seem you are a military man of considerably distinguished service. Your standing as a landlord is most certainly not what you might call first rate. I'm afraid, sir, that it is all too clear to me. There are two conclusions I have been able to draw by careful observation of your living arrangements. I beg your pardon. The first is that even as we speak, you are concealing the presence of a ferocious beast in your care. And the second is that as a result of the beast's violent rampage, you have lost something very dear to you. Mr. Naruhodo, look! The old man's broken out in a cold sweat. Unbelievably, it seems Mr. Shulm's conclusions are both spot on. How? How could you possibly? How could I possibly know, you mean to inquire? The answer couldn't be simpler, sir. For in the dense jungle of logic and reasoning, I am the king of beasts! And I know only too well that wild beasts are not easily tamed. So, shall we begin? Once again, Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. The Great Deduction. The game is afoot. Topic 1. Nature of the Beast. It certainly shouldn't take a great detective to see that a fearsome beast has been on the rampage of late within these four walls. Thus we are faced with the question, what form might this beast take? For a man with a military breeding, your eyes are uncommonly candid. Your furtive glance, Mr. Garadev, leads us directly to the answer. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that lion statue. Yes, though an army man, you appear unimposing at best. A fact that has fueled your admiration for the mighty lion, the king of beasts. What is this piffle, I ask you? In the end, your admiration became so great, in fact, that you had a living, breathing specimen shipped from India, which you had tried to keep in this very house. What? Yet living with such a wild beast proved more difficult than you imagined. The chilling traces of the wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well! As we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madam? Me? I pray you do not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me that with one glance in your direction... It is? Your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue as to the beast... Freudian slip. Gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. For protruding from it is a handbill advertising a circus show. Yes, you sought to dispose of this terrifying lion, Mr. Garadev. At Batty's Circus, a traveling show currently sojourning in a nearby park. I observed the tents. You sold the savage lion, sir, to the circus troupe. I most certainly did not. I believe I have made my point. The fearsome beast which ran amok in this room was an Indian lion. And a simple visit to the circus now will reveal the lion prancing jubilantly through a ring of fire. A rampaging Asiatic lion. Topic 2. Aftermath. Endgame. Checkmate. Now, Mr. Garadeb, it is plainly clear that you have deep feelings for this formidable beast. Indeed, and that blithe pose you just stressed this loss has caused you is veritably tangible.
Moon!
Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that supporting arm. Amid fits of tears, you let your beloved beast go. The strain of losing something so dear to you is clearly visible in your visage.
Nonsense, man! I simply...
But what, we must now ask ourselves, is the true cause of this pain? And we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. Yes, it is this pile of bills that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Every envelope contains another demand for payment. For cartloads of meat, potatoes. For cartloads of meat, potatoes, wheat, and tea. Indeed, feeding your beloved has had a devastating impact on the financial circumstances of your household. And so you had no choice but to let it go.
Yes, well,
Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beasts carry out one last unimaginable attack.
Unimaginable?
It peed on the carpet! The aftermath of which can clearly be seen by observing the carpet over there. A very expensive woolen carpet, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, dearie me!
What could have caused such a destructive outburst?
Oh,
This time, madam, I'm afraid it is you who have inadvertently revealed the truth to me. Your wandering eye has settled upon the answer very neatly indeed. Yes, to explain that dire stare on the carpet, we need only look at the Tower of Cakes!
oh!
There is no creature more dangerous on this earth than a beast with an unsatiated appetite. Was it or was it not once said by a certain noble woman, if they have no bread, let them eat cake? Food is at the heart of all tragedy, in fact.
Whatever do you mean?
Having tired of the taste of cake, the beast began to stalk its next prey. I'm sure I need not spell out the nature of this final act of destruction carried out by the beast. There is only one logical conclusion. Worked into a frenzy by hunger, the lion attacked and ate the carpet! The teeth marks in the carpet are a perfect match with those of a lion I once saw in India. Carpet gnawed on by the starving lion. Ace Detective! Hey, Christopher, thank you for the 100 bits. Thus concludes Herlock Shelm's great deduction. Oh, wait, this is still him talking. I have to put pizzazz into it. Thus concludes Herlock Shelm's great deduction of this beastly puzzle. Ace Detective! Ah! What is the matter with you, Joan? You're pouring scalding hot tea all over me.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Garadab. I'm afraid I didn't notice.
My deductions can be startlingly sharp. It stands to reason that your cup runneth over. Indeed, my revelations can make people spill tears at times, too.
Oh.
Mr. Shulm, sorry to butt in again, but could I make an observation? Why, certainly, Mr. Naruhodo. What is it again? Well, your deductions just now. Do you really think a lion could fit inside a room of this size? Indeed, it is the only explanation for the facts. The terrifying truth is all too often lies beyond the realms of common sense. But wouldn't it be an idea to consider what lies inside the realms of common sense as well? But if an uncaged lion had run amok in this very room, surely Mr. Gyardeb and his maid would have been hurt, or worse. Ah, that's where you are stuck. No doubt the former military man held his own against the beast using that large cannon. I thought you said that they sold the lion to the circus. And what about the food? Meat and potatoes are one thing. I don't believe I've ever heard of a lion that drinks tea. Ah, my dear Miss Suzato, it occurs to me with some regularity that irrespective of race and breeding, whenever anyone lands on Great British soil, they are infused with a highly appropriate taste for afternoon tea. Oh, what a glorious notion! Well then, Mr. Naruhodo, it's your turn to shine again. I had a feeling that was coming. A slight massage. That's all Mr. Holmes' deductions need. You can do it! Excellent! I've been waiting for my trusty partner in deduction to step forward, Mr. Naruhodo. We don't even know yet whether or not this is going to help with Mr. Natsume's case. But damn it if I love to dance! See, not even the game can deny it. Uncovering the truth is always worthwhile, whatever the motivation. At least it's what I want to believe. Let us start again from the beginning. Of Herlock Sholmes' Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. I'm just gonna let this play out. I can only perform so well so many times. Yes, yes. Looking at the shelves. You know something, don't you? The beast takes a form. He looks over to the mantle. But we don't go to the lion. I really didn't see the lion thing coming. No, but if you observe Mr. Gyardeb's reaction, it rather seems as though some beast did indeed run amok here in this room. Yes, something with a very fierce nature. But it couldn't have been a lion transported from India. So what was it then? We must follow Mr. Gyardeb's gaze. That will lead us to the true answer. Ah, the picture behind it. What's this photograph? It appears to be from Mr. Gyardeb's wedding. He looks very happy, doesn't he? He does, but you can't make out his bride. No, how unfortunate. Something must have struck the glass directly over the woman's face. The wife is the maid. I think it goes back to the fact that if you don't have a maid, you're considered poor. I don't think he married his maid. I think his wife became the maid. She does look small, but then again, she's kind of bent up in his arms. I don't know. I wonder what happened. Probably best not to delve too deeply there.
Take that!
Really? That's interesting. Behind the lion statue on the mantelpiece, almost deliberately hidden from view, is a photograph. Though I have yet to examine it in detail, I can assure you that it holds the answer. But because I'm employing an extremely advanced detection technique called jumping to conclusions, you see. What spectacularly contrived logic led you to this mindless conclusion? Oh, well, it's supposed to be a logic and reasoning spectacular, so I thought I'd contribute to the show. This is my show, Mr. Naruhodo. Kindly perform any peculiar experiments on your own stage. Ugh, sorry. Well, what we do know with some certainty is that a destructive creature has been at work in this room. And Mr. Gyaradev inadvertently looked in the direction of something that gives its identity away. Wives can be very destructive, folks. What did Mr. Gyaradev turn to look at? It's here somewhere. We simply need to find it. Wait, was it... Did the thing literally explode? Why do we let these guys hold on to army surplus? These are shells for the cannon, are they? What a strange place to keep them. I imagine they have some significance to Mr. Gyaradev from his time in the army. Of course. He mentioned this before, didn't he? Do you remember? He said that he'd been shot in the knee. Perhaps it was one of these that hit him? If a round of that size hit his knee, there'd be nothing left of it, or Mr. Gyaradev for that matter. Mr. Shelms is a Persian slipper. And this man has spent shells. Perhaps it's customary in Britain to display, well, rubbish on the mantelpiece. Well, it seems like our three choices are the lion statue, the photograph we already flubbed on, and the mortar shells. So I'm going with mortar shells, because that certainly would tear shit up too.
Take that!
Ah, yeah. No, that didn't make sense. Okay, well, what does the game say about this? Alright, is it under the lion statue or something? Yeah, you know, we got that much. Let's go. Well, this is the lion statue that Mr. Shelms picked out. We already tried the photo. Yes, I wonder. Perhaps if you did live with a lion, you prove to be rather. It could prove to be a rather sweet companion. I think. That's like a mouse trying to tell its family that the cat around the house is sweet. I suppose it is a bit of a flight of fancy, isn't it? Anyway, the beast we're looking for is something else. Let's have a good look around. Okay, so I can't do anything with the lion statue. How far can I turn the camera? So it's not the photograph frame. And I can't take the photograph out of the frame. The mortar shells are not it. But there's only, like, there's nothing. I already tried the photograph frame, and there's nothing else here. I can't take the photo out. And if I try presenting the photograph frame, I get dinged. I can't present a specific part of the photo. It's just photograph frame is supposed to replace lion statue, and we already tried that, it didn't work. What? Really? The glass is broken so you can't see the bride's face at all, but no amount of cracks could hide the woman's plump form. I think powerful may have been kinder. Plump is more accurate. Oh, have you noticed her wedding ring? It's rather large, isn't it? Yes, that's an unusual design. It looks like some sort of embellished sunflower. Okay, fine. Present that. There we go. If I presented the photograph frame, guess what would have been in it? The bride. The true nature of the beast that has run rampant here is revealed by that newlywed bride. Precisely, Mr. Naruhodo. No other explanation could possibly fit. Yes, this framed print pictures your wife, Mr. Garrideb. And while we lament the fact that her face is obscured, we can still make out her mighty arms and note the considerable horsepower they must contain. Guys, just take the photo out of the frame. It's not like the picture itself is ripped. Oh, Indeed, surely any woman of such powerful constitution would be honored to be described as a beast. Honored might be stretching the point. Too late! The fact remains that the beast, which so clearly savaged this room, was your wife, Mr. Garrideb. Oh, God. The chilling traces of a wild rampage are still very much in evidence. Well... Yet as we look around, the beast in question fails to present itself. Where could this angry creature have disappeared to? Madam? Me? I pray you not consider me unchivalrous, but it is plain to me with one glance in your direction. It is? Your dress pocket gives us a handsome clue. The poor, fragile, defenseless woman is beside herself. Well, I don't know about fragile. Oh dear. Anyway, Mr. Shelms is quite right. There's no sign of a Mrs. Garrideb anywhere. But it seems there may be a clue as to her whereabouts. A clue this maid is trying to hide. I wonder where Mr. Garrideb's wife could be. And what do we have here? She's wearing a very large ring. Look. Oh yes, a sunflower design with some rather nice embellishments. And it's on the ring finger of the left hand, which means it's surely a wedding ring. It looks like it's on there for life too. I can't imagine it would slide off the finger of that size. That's something to think, Mr. Naruhodo, not to say. Well, even if I think it, everyone seems to assume I say it. Do you know Mr. Garrideb's wife in the photograph had a ring very much like this one? It was a large sunflower design as well. Really? I have a great memory for these. Ryunosuke. Come on. A large sunflower wedding ring. It's quite a coincidence that they have the same ring, isn't it? Yeah, because that's it. Present. Your wedding ring gives us a handsome clue as to the beast's current whereabouts. Indeed it does. That flowery band gleaming on your finger gives you away. For it is identical to the one shown on the hand of Mr. Garrideb's bride in this photographic print. In other words, you are no ordinary household maid. No. You are Mr. Garrideb's lucky bride. You are Mrs. Garrideb herself. Oh my! Woo! Well, full jolly fine detecting, sir. As you rightly surmise, this is the wife. Yes, my Joan. Rather let herself go, you might say, but she was a bally quarterback. Ah! It would appear that you don't live in the most comfortable of circumstances. Domestic abuse is a serious problem, whether it be from the man, from the man against the woman, or the woman against the man. Call your domestic helpline today. After all, you are a retired army man, yet you are in the business of renting out rooms. I would assume, therefore, you have insufficient means to employ a maid. Would that be correct? That's not right, I tell you! I was second lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment. A man has his pride, don't you know? By golly, it's a sorry thing when a chap can't even afford every single maid in his employ. Yes, here in London one is rather judged. A household cannot be considered worthy of society if it employs no staff at all. Though in my considered opinion, such concerns about appearances are folly. You mean Mr. Garadeb has his wife work as his maid? Precisely. Am I right, Mr. Garadeb? Only in company, obviously. But listen here! This must remain a secret. Tip-top secret, please! Yes, remember that official line in Top Secret Echelons. Tip-top. Only trumped by tippy-top. You have great feelings for your beast, otherwise known as your wife. He's still calling Mr. Garadeb's wife a beast. Yes, as a woman, that feels rather uncomfortable. But Mrs. Garadeb is standing beside her husband as we speak. In other words, he isn't lost his beloved at all, has he? Oh, how true! So perhaps that supporting arm that seems to be propping up his head has some other significance then. According to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Garadeb's pain is tangible, though. What could that pose of his really signify? Let's, take a look on the other side of your face. Yeah, you got nailed. Oh my, look at that bright red mark! Gosh, that's quite something, and clearly made by somebody's hand. Yes, Mr. Garadeb's been slapped on the face, it seems. Hard. I've never seen such a clear defined mark. Whoever could have done such a thing? Well, there's a very limited number of candidates, I'd say. And present. Your head weighs heavy on your shoulders, the pain you feel being revealed by that slapped cheek. And of course, the deliverer of that impressive mark on your cheek that refuses to fade was you, Madame Joan Garadeb. Well, yes. You have been desperate to hide the slap mark on your cheek, sir. Go! How the blazes did you work that out, man? Nothing escapes this notice of one trained in the art of observation, my dear fellow. That's why you haven't looked directly at us even once. To keep your other side from view. Well, Now, let us proceed to the next conundrum. Why were you subjected to such a violent slap? In other words, we must ask ourselves what caused Madame Garadeb to fly into a rage. and we need only follow the direction of your gaze to find the answer. You're in the poorhouse! Didn't Mr. Shulman say that the bills were all for lion fodder? Yes, but now we've established that the lion never existed. Which can only mean that the thing responsible for gobbling up all that food was Mr. Garadeb's wife. Mr. Naruhodo, she's a person, not a thing! Yes, well, she's also a person who gave her husband a mighty slap around the face. One so hard that it left a perfect handmark, in fact. Yes, why would a woman want to hit her husband with such force, I wonder? Mr. Garadeb's hanging out with the ladies in the moonlight. I'd love to know the answer to that question. Someone must be reading this book at the moment. There's a bookmark here, look. Mr. Garadeb is clearly an avid reader. Oh, wait a minute. I don't think this is a bookmark. Oh no, it isn't. It's a note written in a woman's hand. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. And look next to the signature here. Lip marks made with lipstick. Oh, what a passionate and romantic gesture. Don't get any idea, Susato-san. Oh dear, I'm sorry. So this bookmark is actually a love note then.
Take that!
Yes, it is this love note that has given rise to the pain you suffer. Oh, James, I love you. Yours, Mary. Passionate indeed. Perhaps the sender of this note, a certain Miss Mary, is the fly in the ointment here? Gah! But I don't know the bully woman! You don't know her? That note wasn't written to me. It was just in the book. I didn't know how it got there. It was just in there, you say? That's right! That's what I've been trying to... Ah! A likely story! Now listen here, Joan, old thing. I explained it at the time. I bought that book at the second-hand place, and the note just already happened to have been in there. So the previous owner of the book was using the note as a bookmark, you mean? I want to see if it fills up. Oh. Bottomless cup. We've finally solved it. That's right! That's what I'm trying to... Ah! A likely story? For heaven's sake, woman, look at the name! It's written to James! My name, in case you've forgotten, is John... Ah! A likely story? Are you questioning my name now? And there we have it! Arouse the suspicions of the female heart, and you unleash a beast with a most ferocious bite. Now, in a final fit of rage, the ferocious beast carried out one last unimaginable attack. Unimaginable? The aftermath of which can be clearly seen by observing the carpet over here. A very expensive woolen carpet, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, dearie me. What could have caused such a destructive outburst? This time, madam, I'm afraid it is you who have inadvertently revealed the truth to me, even though you also revealed it last time when you looked over at the book. Yes, she's looking at the giant burn mark caused by the candle on the floor, which was knocked out of the candelabra. But surely Mrs. Garadeb didn't eat the carpet. No, of course not. But there doesn't seem to be any doubt.
that the state of disarray in this room is as a result of her wild temper. No, that's true. So this is the last part of Mrs. Shom's deduction that we need to fix. We need only follow Mrs. Garadeb's gaze, and that will tell us the real answer. Alright, let's see what we can see. Yes! And I twist the camera like so, and move this down here. No, the candle! The candle! The candle! It had... Yeah, scorch marks from the candle that's still sitting on the floor. Oh my gosh. Why can't I click on the candle? Okay, is it this then? The candle is still there on the floor. I don't understand why I can't just select it. This looks like a very old candlestick, doesn't it? The base looks too small. Surely it's very unstable. It looks to me like even the slightest knock would make it topple over. Oh dear, that would be dangerous. Wait, take a closer look at this. Yes, let's take a closer look and notice one of the candles is missing! Ugh. There's one candle missing. Yes, I didn't notice it. And screenshot. I didn't notice the whole candle missing from the candelabra. Ugh, sorry. Hold on. I actually threw my back out a bit with that exasperated gesture I threw up. Stretch. Okay. Alright, game. Let's play. Why is that, I wonder? Why is one candle of the three missing from its holder? Okay, now... Can I... If that's still the carpet, I'm going to assume the candlestick is what you want me to present. Okay, then...
Take that!
Yes, to explain the dire state of the carpet, we need only look at the candlestick. Most illuminating, my dear fellow. And of course, the only possible way out of this logical labyrinth. Yes, the remains of a ferocious attack in which the carpet was devoured are clearly visible. There we go. Indeed they are. The scorch marks at the edge clearly give the truth away. Scorch marks? It would appear that this room was the scene of a little marital altercation. Oh, Mrs. Garadeb's mighty arm muscles left an impression not only on her husband's face, but on the entire room. The force of her strike caused the candle to fall from the holder. And in seconds the carpet was alight, and the whole corner of the room in flames. Yes, For the most ferocious beast in this world is neither a violent lion nor a vengeful woman, but fire. And in this room, that ferocious beast bared its claws and ran amok. Eloquently put, my dear fellow. So you see, there is but one conclusion here. After the sparks of the marital discord flew, this room was the scene of a fire. I can't harmonize with myself. I'm not that good. And by good, I mean magical. Mr. Shom, sir, I salute you! Say it with me now. I Space detectives! It's these dashed long winter nights, you know. Nothing to do but read in front of the fire. Luckily, there's a jolly good second-hand bookshop just around the corner. Buy all my old novels there. And in the pages of one particular novel, you discovered some rather illicit material? For which your wife admonished you harshly, it seems. I don't know about admonished. Demolished, might rather be closer to the mark. And beast is the most certainly a... Ah! Here we go again. And the carpet, was that destroyed by fire when a candle fell on the floor? Afraid to say it was. Happened in the blink of an eye, you know. The whole place filled with smoke. Couldn't see a bally thing. I was caught between the old stick's rage and the raging flames. You paint a torrid picture, sir. One that would have been most entertaining. That's sympathy for you. Didn't take long for the fire to spread, of course. The bally furniture started going up as well. Had to hide the mess behind the screen for the time being. Move it! Move that screen! Move that screen! Over here, Mr. Garrideb? Well, you have nothing more to hide now, if you allow me. Had all my favorite old novels in that case. But as soon as the fire got a hold of them, that was it. Whoosh! Up in smoke! Gosh. Then the wife started hurling things at me. What a terrible sight it must have been. There was I, back up against the window under heavy enemy fire, incendiary books incoming 10 to the dozen. Worst of it is, I lost my favorite. Book called The Lion's Pride. The Lion's Pride? Ah, yes, your notorious love of big cats coming through again. I assure you, the title didn't influence my choice in the slightest. Moon! So the poor man really did lose something dear to him as a result of the ferocious beast's rampage. Mr. Sholmes' deductions turned out to be correct once again. It can only be described as a great British wonder. I tell you, it was total carnage! Flames everywhere, and the old stick in full fiddle! Out of interest, what time of day was that? Not sure I can remember. It was 2 days ago now. Let's see, around 5 o'clock, I think. So exactly at the same time as the terrifying incident was unfolding outside your window on the street below. Even more terrifyingly on the inside, I can assure you. The whole of Blighty would have been flattened outside my window at that moment. And I wouldn't have noticed a dashed thing. Oh, really? That's a pronounced Adam's apple, I just realized. Look at that. Look how far out that sticks. And it's like jointed. I'm very distracted by that now. Like you could flick it. Mr. Sholmes. Yes, Mr. Naruhodo? What can I do for you? Well, I think we got to the bottom of Mr. Garrideb's situation now. But what does it have to do with Mr. Natsume's circumstances? I can't help you there, I'm afraid. What? My dear fellow, if you recall, I did say as much from the outset. I warned you that although I knew the retired army man was hiding something, I could not be sure whether a secret would prove to be of relevance or not. I just knew you were going to say that. Ah, ha, 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 ha. Now, Mr. Naruhodo, you mustn't lose heart. Bear in mind that all things fall into one of only two categories, those relevant to the case and those not. That makes no sense to me. Well, no matter. It is of far greater importance that you make up your mind now. Sorry? Visiting hours at the prison will soon be over. Oh no, is it that time already? We're going to be late for our conjugal visit. If we're to accept Mr. Natsume's case, we have official paperwork to attend to. So that's it. No more time to think. Perhaps you like to betake yourselves to bidding us farewell now. I must prepare supper for Mr. Garadib. Oh yes. I'm so sorry. Thank you both very much for your time. Soseki-san will be waiting for us. And I'm going to have to give him an answer. And I am starving, so let's hope this gets to a to be continued soon. Wait, no, I said prison. Take me to the prison. Dang it. It's time, Mr. Naruhodo. We must hurry back to the prison. Yeah, that's why when I hit move, I said go to the prison. Yes, I know. Let's hair a carrot. Oh. What's the matter? It looks like something's going on over there in front of the Garadib's house. Wow! Oh. Nitsank, thank you for the gift subs. Thank you for distracting me while I'm trying to figure out a voice for this guy. But thank you. Thank you for the 10 gift subs. I very much appreciate it, and I hope the 10 people that just got subs of their own appreciate it too. Welcome to the team, guys. I think I'm gonna try something. I know thee not, old man. Fall to thy prayers. How you calling, old man, you rum-looking nimey-pimey? There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. Who's this Horatio fella, eh? What you on about? Excuse me. Yeah, what the? Who are you now? I'm sorry. It's just looked as though you might be in some problem here. And my associate here, Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, is a lawyer, you see. Eh? A lawyer? What? If I can be of any assistance, I'd be happy to help. I'm from Japan, but I've studied English law. Fine, I'll be on my way for today. Would you mark my words? This ain't over yet! Jojo Dab. Get thee to a nunnery? Do I look like a bloomin' nun to you? Oh ho 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 ho! I do hope you're not injured. Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so gentle, thank you. What was that all about? There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. I'm not Horatio either. Forgive the inquiry, sir, but are you a lodger here? In the Garadib residence? Oh, fair Eastern maiden, thou art so right! Yes, I do dwell in this humble abode. Mr. Garadib mentioned they had another lodger, didn't he? This must be the man. Do you happen to know the other lodger who lives on the first floor? Ah, yes, a gentleman named Natsume? Or Natsume? He'd only would have heard it. Oh, more worthy, a polemist. A polemist? Makes me think of Ptolemy. Polemist, in my battle words, ne'er could there be. Sorry, battle, you say? Who is the stronger, Hamlet or Macbeth? Mr. Natsume and I sparred long into the night. I see. I don't fully understand, but it seems Mr. Natsume and this gentleman are acquaintances at least. So, fair maiden! So, good gentleman! I can tarry you here no longer. Fare thee well! Any thought? I have a feeling that's probably going to be a witness at the trial, so let me know if that voice worked. I don't really understand him, but I think he's returned to his room. It seems he's unaware of what's happened to Mr. Natsume, so he can't really help us. With Soseki-san and that man as lodgers, the Garadeb residence is certainly full of eccentrics. Anyway, I'll go find a carriage. Yes, I'm sure Mr. Natsume is eagerly awaiting our return. So we can get to the prison before visiting hours are over. They don't let an attorney go see his client whenever he needs to. I'm not a criminal defense attorney, so I actually wouldn't know. But I'm under the assumption that the prison cannot prevent you from seeing your client, at least within reasonable measure. I mean, what do the guards know? Oh, it's you! You're here! You came! Welcome, student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire! I can't believe you came back! I'm so touched! We are so sorry to have kept you waiting, Mr. Natsume. Oh, no! Think nothing of it! Relax! If I were a cat, I would purr with pleasure at the company of such fine compatriots. Yeah, speaking of cat, did you have one? Because I think it's eating your books. Noble, nurturing, never-failing Nipponese! Oh, now, let's not get carried away. Ooh, who could this be? Oh, I quite agree. There is nothing more reassuring than the familiarity of one's native land. On the other hand... Oh, here we go. It is though friendship transcending international borders that one truly appreciates the fact. Such is my belief, at least. It's you! The miserable, rotten spy! Herlock Sholmes! Mr. Sholmes, what are you doing here? I have no intention of doing anything, per se. Save observing, of course. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? Well, having encountered some curious reading material in that gloomful room, and having unmasked the secret identity of that eccentric pair, I decided I should drop in on my way home to see how our divested friend is faring. Gloomful room? At least your accommodation here offers a window, my dear fellow. In that sense, it is a superior option. The window's just as dark as the one that was bricked up. Anyway, I must commend you on your taste in books. My day has been a delight and not cost me a penny. And cost me not a penny. Ah! You! How dare you! Herlock Sholmes! I've had it. I'm through. I'm at the end of my rope. I should never have come to Great Britain. It was a terrible mistake. Haunted by spirits in those accursed lodgings, no doubt my luck will be cursed in tomorrow's trial as well. My whole life be damned! It's been damned! What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? He mentioned that once before, didn't he? That his lodgings were cursed, I mean. And that there is much truth in Mr. Mustache's words. What? Oh, sorry, that was Sholmes' line earlier. I missed it. Cursed is a wholly appropriate description, I would say, for the man's lodgings, and indeed for tomorrow's trial. What's that supposed to mean? Oh man. Okay, if on the off chance there is someone who's ahead of me in the game, after I finish the conversation with Natsume, do we reach a to be continued? Because I have to admit, I am starving, and I'd rather call it quits at some point. Okay. Alright, then I'll just go ahead and move on to a conversation. Mr. Natsume, what do you mean by what you said just now? About the trial tomorrow being cursed? Oh no! Why are you looking so grave? You're making me nervous! I was just getting carried away, that's all. I didn't mean anything by it. Oh, I see. That's really agitated him. You don't mean the trial really is cursed somehow? Are you referring to the prosecutor? The Reaper of the Bailey? The Reaper? Oh no, what do you mean? Please tell me! Summarize it succinctly in 16 salient words! No defendant has ever survived a trial in which the Reaper stands for the prosecution. Ever. Hey, he did it! Oh my goodness! Can it really be true? That was 16 words exactly! Yesterday, Mr. Naruhodo successfully defended someone against the Reaper. But then, after the trial was over, the defendant passed away in unusual circumstances. Mr. McGilded. What? What? Ah, I'm impressed, Miss Susato. You have an eye for detail. Actually, the Lord Chief Justice told us. Mr. Sholmes, surely it can't be that having failed to have the accused convicted, Lord Van Zykes killed the man himself? No, he couldn't have, surely. Susato, you know my name's Ryunosuke. Why'd you call me Shirley? Oh, you have wonderful notions. Sorry? Oh, we got the theme. The man isn't a mass murderer. He's a court prosecutor, my dear fellow. Oh, yes. Why, of course he is. Ah, of course he is? Then why are you trying to scare me? It could be said, however, that the real truth about the man is even more terrifying than your hypothesis. What on earth do you mean by that? Van Zykes is an quite exceptional man. However, in London courts of law, exceptional does not equate to winning every case without exception. Ah, that's good. So Seki-san looks like he's going to cry tears of joy. As you are no doubt aware, in British criminal law, there is both a judge and a jury. The judge officiates based on the letter of the law, whilst the jury offers public opinion and common sense. It is an excellent system, whereby the defendant's guilt is considered from several points of view. However, public opinion in particular is somewhat easily manipulated. Okay, well, great way to have a point and then immediately undercut it. Right. Criminals and corrupt lawyers, for that matter, can use it to their advantage. By any means at their disposal. Contriving evidence, calling imposters as witnesses, and so on. By such underhand means, those who would want to are able to sway the jury. Which means that even in the light of irrefutable evidence, the prosecution can fail. But it means the wrong verdict can be passed. I mean, you don't need the existence of a jury does not suddenly make that a problem. It's always there. And sadly, from time to time, my dear madam, it is simply the reality of the situation. And if that's all right? However, those indicted by Lord Van Zykes cannot escape justice. Their fate is sealed. Oh my, wait, I could have sworn I saw Ryunosuke almost say something. I guess not. Though the adjudication may see them leave the courtroom with their freedom, within months they all disappear. It is most striking. Disappear? But how? Ah, by all manner of misfortunes, sir. Perhaps they are trampled under a passing carriage. Perhaps they fall into the Thames and are drowned. Perhaps they are suddenly overcome by a raging fever, or perhaps attacked by highwaymen. Oh, no, no, no. All examples of the reality of events here in London, I'm afraid, Mr. Naruhodo. I knew it. I'm a dead, done for, doomed! When you said accursed lodgings before, you were referring to your room at Mr. Garadeb's house, I presume. Do you mean to say you believe the place is cursed? It's been a year now since I came to Great Britain. I'd only been in London a week before I started to notice strange feelings in myself. Strange stirrings that I've never had before. That didn't take long then. Everywhere I looked, there were foreign faces staring at me, laughing behind my back. I was sure people were talking about me. I started to become nervous about going outside. They were always staring at me all the time, from dawn till dusk. You got that paranoid schizophrenia. I do not mean to make assumptions about mental illness. I just make cheap shots for humor. Let me reprise. He's paranoid as hell. So I shut myself away in my room. But even that didn't help. The fear wouldn't go away. My damn cat kept judging me. You must have been very lonely, having been away from your homeland for such a long time. I've had to move a number of times. Most recently to that room on Briar Road, a week ago now. Yes, why did you choose there? It seems a little inconvenient. The rent is cheap. I have so little money. The rent is cheap. I have so little money. It appealed to me straight away. Of course, I asked why it was so affordable. The landlord just simpered and said, "The room is cursed." Oops! He quickly tried to cover his mistake, but it was too late. So I told him, "If you have something to say, then say it. But if not, don't mention it in the first place." Yes, well said. It was true! It was all true! You mean, the room really is cursed, then? Ever since I moved into that wilderness hellhole, my sleep has been plagued with nightmares. I wake feeling as though I'm being choked to death. And in my waking hours, people are stabbed in front of me as I walk down the street. I'm branded a killer, thrown in prison. Nobody wants to know me. I'm surrounded by scary, sinister spirits. If only there was someone, just one person on my side. Well, good luck with that. Let's have lunch. Can no one find it in his or her heart to believe in me? Really, no one at all? To believe. Yes, to believe. Believe in the me that believes in you. I'm Mr. Sholmes. Ah, me, Mr. Naruhodo? Pray, what can I do for you? It's about the case on the SS Beria, if you recall. The Beria. Ah, that case. The one with the snake? Well, yes. At that time, I was the suspect, but you believed in me and listened to my side of the story. And you helped us investigate. I did I? Interesting. What I want to know is, why? Why didn't you believe me? I see, yes, you mean... because you were in a grimly depressed, shady Eastern fellow found with the victim in a locked room? Well, if you like, yes. I'm a little surprised that the answer requires explanation, my dear fellow. It's quite simple, really. You said I didn't do it. But I could have been lying. Sure, you must have had your doubts. You must have suspected me a little. Susato did. I think perhaps you have misunderstood. I neither recall believing in you, nor in which you were. I neither recall believing in you, nor in that which you were telling me. That's a whole lot of verbiage. What? You see, the only things I believe in are those I choose to believe in. What? What do you mean, Mr. Sholmes? I make up my own mind about what is to be believed and what is not. If I should like to believe in something, I do. The circumstances can hang as far as I'm concerned. But I could have betrayed your trust. Ha 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 ha! In that case, I should have made an elementary error of judgment, nothing more. Betrayal of trust is an overused excuse, in my opinion. Meaning? Whether or not one should trust another is, in the final analysis, down to oneself. It is a matter of whether or not one can trust oneself. Yes, he's right! He's right! Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire! Whether or not I can believe myself. A defense lawyer is only as good as his faith in his client. And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself. Ryunosuke, I believe in you from beyond the grave. You were so right, Kazuma. Well, my dear fellows, it is time we were leaving, I believe. Already? Visiting hours are over. The guard will be here shortly to escort us out. There is a restaurant near here that serves excellent trout. Would you care to join me? Oh dear, there's never enough time, is there? Mr. Natsume, if you'd like, in the trial tomorrow, I'd be happy to represent you. Ah! He said it! He said it! I'll take the case! Ryunosuke, attorney at law. Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. As I said, I'm only experienced a British courtroom for the first time yesterday. And although the man I'm representing was found not guilty, I lost sight of something crucial. Something crucial? I want to believe in the defendant, justice, or the truth. How to believe it, what to believe in, how to believe in it. Sorry, having a stroke now. But I think I finally worked it out. I decided I must believe in myself above all else, to trust my instincts. Yes, Mr. Naruhodo. And my instincts are telling me that you, Mr. Natsume, are innocent of this crime. And it's imperative that we prove that in court. Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. I will fight for your innocence until the bitter end. With every weapon available to me, even this sword, I will attack Santa. So I hope you'll permit me to represent you tomorrow. As I said when we first met, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who will listen to me in my native tongue. Of course, Mr. Natsume. It would be fair to say, Mr. Naruhodo, that your mind was, in many ways, made up from the outset. You merely needed the events of today to fully realize it. Yes, I think you're right about that. It's been a roundabout journey, but I got here in the end. Hope no one has to pee. Miss Susato. Yes? Would you be willing to stand by my side tomorrow and help me in court? Absolutely. As I said this morning, you may consider me your personal judicial assistant. This sword is the sword I used to cut through lies. The shocking events of yesterday's trial still weigh heavily on my mind. But it's time to stop looking backwards. Kazuma believed in me. Mr. Sholmes believes in me now too. Susato too, but I'm not going to mention her. So it's time. Time that I learnt to believe in myself. Soseki-san is no one. He's all alone. So it's my job to help him. To fight his corner. To fight his corner. To fight in his corner. Where was the in that? I know I'm removing words sometimes, but even the game's doing it. Tomorrow, in the courtroom, with all the strength I can muster. To be continued, 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 to be continued. Okay, save your progress. Yes. Come on, down there. Yeah, here. Alright, guys. That is going to be it from me today. Nick and Scott are going to be at Kineticon starting Friday. Well, they're going to be gone Thursday. And also, Kieran and Grant are going to be busy with something that night as well. So, there probably won't be a team-up stream where more people on the team get together to do something. However, I am still thinking about streaming something. I'm not sure what. I would actually like to show Grant Endless Legend, but maybe if he's busy, I'll still stream that and kind of show you guys another Amplitude game that I like. And then, oddly enough, been dabbling a bit of No Man's Sky. It was on sale, and I had the money for it, and I decided, what the hell? It seems like it's gotten a hell of a lot better since the last time it was on Stream 4-star. So I may do that too. Who knows? Until then, I'm going to go ahead and send you guys off to somebody. Is Nick still streaming? Yes, we got Nick streaming Slay the Spire. Kieran is actually doing his game development stream. But, I'm not sure if I can raid Kieran right now. So I'll go ahead and send you guys over to Nick. Hope you all have fun over there, and I'll talk to you guys soon, maybe? Who knows?